Studio is proud to present Mr. Janaki Alavalapati.
Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. My name is Janaki Alavalapati. I'm a professor of forest economics and policy at Virginia Tech, and I'm also a senior fellow for Energy and Climate Partnership of the Americas at the Department of State in Washington, D.C. I have been asked to make a brief presentation about forest management interventions to address climate change mitigation, focusing on the Southeast United States perspective. So that's what I'm going to do in the next 5 to 6 minutes. I would like to make this presentation in 3 pieces. The first piece is going to be focusing on forests in the Southeast, kind of giving you an overview to set the stage for the rest of the presentation. Then the second piece is going to focus on how the forest management is going to influence carbon sequestration and carbon stocks, again focusing in the southeast of the United States. The third piece is going to focus on the economics of this forest management interventions and the implications for carbon sequestration. What does that mean for forest landowners if they have to make more money? So those are the 3 pieces I would be focusing. The first one here, what you have here is just to show that the southeast, the United States forests occupy approximately 30% of national forests, and out of that one, 70% of forests are privately owned. So that is the reason why there is a lot of interest from the private sector. Southern forests are considered as a kind of wood basket of the world. The reason why I say that one is 60% of the national wood production comes out of this region, and approximately 25% of global round production comes out of this region. So it's a significant contribution of the wood products from the nation and the global perspective. If you look at the contribution of the southeast, the United States forest to the carbon stock, what you have in this slide is essentially close to 16,243 million metric tons of carbon is stored in the U.S. Southeast forests. If you want to get the details about the carbon sequestration potential per acre base, per year basis, what you have here is, while U.S. forests absorb anywhere about 900 million metric tons of carbon equivalents per year, that accounts for 13% of national greenhouse gas emissions, but the southeast forests account approximately 33%, that is 1/3. What I wanted to say at this point is forest management interventions are going to influence carbon stocks and sequestration in a significant way, and a lot of research evidence is there supporting that statement. Now let me turn to forest management and carbon interface, again focusing in the southeast. What you have here is a case study that was conducted focusing on loblolly pine plantation in North Carolina, one of the southeastern states of the United States, and loblolly pine is a dominant plantation species in this region. See, if you just go for without any management interventions, that's what you have, this diamond blue dots, which is essentially reflects the productivity on the x-axis age, on the y-axis is a stem mass, which is a kind of biomass indicator. But if you go for irrigation, which is a kind of square pink, there would be 48% increase in the productivity. And if you look at the yellow line growth, what you have is, if you put fertilization, what kind of impacts are going to be. But if you combine both irrigation and fertilization, you are going to notice 163% of increase in the productivity enhancement. So that means significant. So forest management is going to contribute to the biomass. That means to the carbon. The next one is also tells you how forest management is going to influence the carbon. There are two pictures here. On the top left-hand side, on the x-axis you have years, and on the left side of the y-axis you have the productivity, tons per acre. What you have is between 1940 and 2010, the productivity enhancement is almost kind of fourfolds, from all the way from 50 tons per acre all the way to 200 plus tons per acre. But if you focus on the right hand side of the y-axis, that is rotation age. See, back in 1940s, we used to cut forest at the rotation age of anywhere 50 plus years, but now it is anywhere between 15 and 20. What does this mean? We have a double whammy positive effect. On one hand, significant increase in the productivity. On the other hand, there is a significant decrease in rotation. So that means this would benefit landowners. And the next graph, what you have on the below right hand side, is how the productivity can be distributed across various management activities. Anywhere you can see the range from clonal biotech, tree improvement, weed control, fertilization, site preparation, you name it, how different management interventions are going to influence the productivity in the Southeast. You can also focus on how the forest management, specifically when you increase the rotation age, how it would influence the carbon interface. What you have here is from a publication from Johnson 2013, the carbon pool, both in situ, which is kind of living pine, understory, forest floor, and ex situ. Once you harvest those things, put that biomass into sawn timber, pulpwood and other things, how the forest, the carbon stocks are going to be by increasing the rotation age. I want you to focus on the net carbon stock down below the row. For loblolly pine, under 15 years of rotation, 130 megagrams of carbon per acre. And if you go to the third column, if you increase the loblolly pine rotation to 30 years, and the carbon stock is going to be 172, then if you increase the rotation age to 45 years, the carbon is going to be 81. And you can go through these numbers at your leisure, but in the interest of time, I wanted to focus on this one. So the point is here, by increasing the rotation age, yes, you would increase the carbon stock, but I want you to note that by increasing from 30 to 45 years, that is another 15 years, the increment is not going to be very high compared to 15 to 30 years. That is one thing I want you to note. The second piece is, this does not tell what this increase means to a private forest landowner. Can he or she make more money as a result of increasing the rotation age and increasing the carbon stock? So we need to focus on economics, and that's what the next 2 minutes I'm going to focus on. There is a very recent study from Susaita et al., one of my previous PhD students. I'm really proud of his work. What you have here is, his team did this economics of management interventions by focusing on 3 scenarios. He focused on loblolly pine plantations and slash pine plantations under 3 different scenarios: no change in productivity, 20% increase in productivity, and 20% decrease in productivity. And the type of management scenarios he focused is, what if loblolly pine plantations are going to be high planting density, then low planting density, slash pine high planting density, and he also focused on the use of sawn timber, chip and saw, pulpwood, and look at the economics of these scenarios. I just wanted to go straight to this slide to show how the economics is playing a critical role here. What you have on this slide is x-axis carbon storage in terms of megagrams per hectare per year. On the y-axis, you have the land expectation value per hectare, which is a key economic indicator of forest management from a private sector perspective. This scenario was, just for one scenario, 20% increase in productivity in the future. But the risk factor in terms of hurricane damage, pest damage, fire damage is a 2% risk factor, and the salvage, so that means when risk occurs, will it be 20% salvage value, 30% salvage value, or 40% or 50%? What you have here is the dark square and dark diamond dots indicate loblolly pine under high density scenario, and the round halo and triangle halo is loblolly pine low density, and the third one is slash pine high density. So what you have is here they have shown in another graph that high density plantation is going to sequester more carbon by focusing purely on biophysical. But if you put economics into the equation, what you are seeing is here the halo, the circle, and the halo diamond is showing greater land expectation value compared to the other two scenarios. So that means low density plantation, loblolly plantation is going to be more effective when you consider the economics. On per dollar basis for sequestration, the low density loblolly pine is going to be very critical. So now what is the take home message from this presentation? The first, forests play a key role in carbon sequestration, and tons of research is out there to support this statement. Forest management interventions, whether it is fertilization, irrigation, rotation age, density, thinning, you name it, all these things are going to influence carbon sequestration and carbon stocks. Forest management options that result in increase of carbon stocks may not be profitable. We need to be clear on that one. The reason why I make this conclusion is from that case study. In the context of loblolly pine, with a low planting density is more effective in terms of carbon sequestration relative to high planting density scenario, because it generates more economic revenue per megagram of sequestered carbon. The last message is high disturbance risks and lower salvage portions will decrease in forest investments. So that's what I have through my presentation. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak with you. Thank you.